So do you feel home again?
Yes.
What makes it feel like home? And just a reminder, the people online can hear you. Now, of course, I know masks may get in the way, and also depending on people's tones of voice, but I just want to make sure that you know, and I sincerely want to hear, what makes it feel like home?
Each other.
Each other. And what about each other?
We're all still here.
Yes, we're all still here, and as you looked around, the witnessing of one another and seeing the souls of others who are with you feels like home. What else?
The warmth and the kindness in the gaze.
The warmth and the kindness, and you did this, so the feeling that you get, that it's palpable, the lightness and the love in the room being exchanged.
Shared consciousness.
Shared consciousness. Again, you know, like the fish in the ocean, they don't know they're in the ocean, but they're all swimming around. We're in consciousness because we couldn't communicate if we weren't in one consciousness. Crystal?
That we all chose to be here today.
You all chose to be here today. That purpose and that feeling of I came to be together.
Relief.
Relief. So coming together feels a relief, and go a little bit deeper with that. What makes it feel relieving?
Fearless.
Okay, fearless. We'll come back.
Presence.
Presence. Can you feel the beingness of each person? Yes.
The joy of reuniting.
The joy of reuniting. The sweet reunion.
It's like hearts beating as one.
Hearts beating as one.
Common value, yeah, a lot of common shared
Values or
values.
Mm-hmm. I guess, you know, going back to even the choice and the purpose of being here, that we all came here on purpose, which means we all have an intention to enlighten ourselves, if you will, to know with one another, experiencing that love and that truth, and being willing to go deeper. Has it taken a lot to get here? At least from a staff and Save a Service team perspective, absolutely. Today was not just rote memory, because, by the way, that would have been 18 months ago anyway. So, again, I mentioned in the meditation, we will continue to add to our services. Today was to try to start simply and then continue to create the future forward, depending on what's needed, including Kosmic Kids, teens, when it's safe, singing, our social hour we will do outside, but as things unfold and continue to come back to wholeness and perfection, we will continue to add in the way that feels right in this day and time. So, of course, for those of you that don't know, I work at Chico State, so being an educator, my first thing I want to do is ask you, what have you learned in the last 18 months? Oh, that felt a little...
Live through anything.
That you can live through anything. In other words, that we're stronger than you might have originally thought based on the circumstances that we have been brought to. Beautiful.
That we all share the same beautiful planet. We're all interconnected.
That we all share the same beautiful planet, and we knew that before, but we're now experiencing that really long journey, 6 inches from our heads to our hearts, to the experience of what that means during these times.
Deeper compassion with sorrow.
Something compassion with sorrow, would you say?
Deeper
Deeper compassion
with sorrow.
with sorrow. And compassion means letting go of our own concepts of what we think, but allowing ourselves to be open and feeling where others are at. Being open, willing, and vulnerable. Yes, Joseph?
More respect for each other.
More respect for each other. And I believe that you can see that and feel that, although if you watch the news, you may not feel that, yes? But that's a perfect example because our beliefs metaphorically are, you can find anything in the world that you're looking for. So what are you looking for? You have a choice to choose what you want to look for, and you will find it. Seek and ye shall find. Yes, I think we, of course, are experiencing contrast on different people's thoughts about where we're at. And I don't care whether we're talking about the forest fires, the pandemic, the vaccinations, the political environment. Don't let those distractions take you down. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So let me also ask, what have you learned about yourself in the last 18 months?
Much stronger than I thought.
Sorry, we'll get both of those.
I sound much stronger than I thought.
You are much stronger than you thought. So that is a definite calling to open up. There's more of you. There's more there at the center of you, a power. It's a beautiful thing to have discovered. Connie?
Instead of getting overwhelmed by the things I can't control, to really make it a call to get realigned again, and at the very least, just be kind.
Beautiful. And you know, especially depending on people's circumstances, we want to try to get back to controlling what we want to expect. And yet many of you have heard that I keep saying to myself, it's like being on the inner tube going down the river. How do we not resist, but lean in and figure out what we want to create? Or in the case of the river, you know, you can use your hands and your feet to say, you know, like a, what do you call the fin? The rudder. Like a rudder. You can choose. I mean, there's a famous saying from a book, don't ask me to quote the book, but the only way to invent the future is to create it. To predict the future is to create it. The only way to predict the future is to create it. And we are powerful, creative beings if we consciously choose how we want to create going forward. It's easy to feel like a victim, is it not? I mean, I think if I asked you all to create a story about victimhood, it wouldn't be hard to create one right now, right? So no matter what you look at externally, again, you know, the pandemic, people dying and filling up the hospitals, the smoke, the floods, the hurricanes, and the fear. The fear of what's next. The anxiety. Don't get lost in the distractions. Don't get lost in it such that you don't know who you are. I've seen some family and friends on Facebook who, whether it's been politics or whether it's been the pandemic or whatever, is constantly on Facebook creating the, how can this be and why is that? And I surround the person with compassion and love, saying, there are plenty of things out there to take us for a really crazy ride. But your spiritual practice is to bring yourself into the comfortability of your own internal home, which is love, peace, respect, freedom, joy. We couldn't acknowledge those particular attributes of spirit or God, of truth, if we didn't know about them. But we have a label for them, and even in the moment, if you're not experiencing joy, you know that there's joy. That's consciousness. And you have the choice then to choose. I choose joy. And I know that sounds simpler than it is based on your circumstances. And that's when important to be a part of a spiritual community, to connect one another, to hold each other up, to be there for each other, and to pray for one another. Because prayers are thoughts and thoughts are things. So don't lose your way home to yourself. You know, we can get caught in the way things are and take us off on a long way. And yes, there is a calling. We are being called to be more conscious about Mother Earth, called to be more conscious about one another and how we impact one another. But what you continue to focus on is what you continue to find in the world. So what do you want to focus on? Are you clear in your consciousness? So I'll ask you, are you doing your spiritual practices to provide yourself a comfortable and nurturing haven? Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, relationally, we are all being called to become conscious and not just float along with whatever society says, you know, focus on this and now there's that. Again, there's forever internal distractions. You know, this sounds funny, but I like to think about turtles and snails, not so much about they carry their home on their back, physically, but I like to metaphorically think about that wherever I am, there I am. But do I know myself deeply enough to be in that space and be comfortable there? When Gutta said, know thyself, he didn't mean your favorite food, your favorite colors. It means know yourself in how you think, what's your attitude, what are your choices, become conscious. It's important to know who we really are. Love, light, kindness, peace, power, beauty, joy. And we're being called to evolve that. So how am I being called to express and raise consciousness to a greater knowing and revelation? That course, Revealing Wholeness, I was able to read that book. And it's no surprise that what faiths, the ancient wisdom of faiths have always known, is being expressed in science. And some doctors are willing to look at that. That it's the wholeness, not just the prescription. The wholeness of the causes. So, yes, I am focused on continuing, even though I have good health, based on where we are in the pandemic, just a simple calling to say a greater focus into health and wholeness and self-healing. I can do that forever. Waking up and falling in love with Mother Earth each morning, I was so grateful to celebrate my 60th birthday. I was in Kauai, and my focus was just to sit there and take in the beauty and imprint that on my mind. I also got a new mountain bike, so I'll be in the mountains, on trails. So that's part of my health and consciousness about the beauty of loving Mother Earth. And while my grandparents were both dairy farmers and gentlemen farmers, I haven't done much of my own gardening, so I started doing that. Successful in some, not so many others. So I get to live and learn. Getting clearer on what's important to me and what to let go of as my partner retired, so it's fun to experience that change in chapter. And I think, again, something that's not so tangible and visible, but very important, releasing fear and deepening faith. The Science of Mind textbook, page 435, this is a textbook written by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. If we think we can guide our brother aright while our own feet still walk in the darkness, we are mistaken. We must clarify for our own vision, then we shall become as lights, lighting the way for others. In other words, modeling, not necessarily trying to force each other's opinion on each other. But we can teach a lesson we have not learned. Can we give that which we do not possess? To suppose so is hypocrisy and things to be shunned. Jesus tears the mantle of unreality from the shoulders of hypocrisy, winnowing from the soul of sham and shallowness in last shred of illusion. We cannot see reality, capital R, until our eyes are wide open, until the light of eternal truth has struck deeply into our own souls. And for me, I will add, and then being the light. That means doing our own spiritual work to continue to deepen what we know, what we see in the world, what we want to express in the world. And the science of mind philosophy wouldn't have a specific stance on the vaccine itself, but we are unlike Christian science that doesn't accept medical help. Dr. Ernest Holmes has said, with every pill that we've been prescribed for us, we should also be given a creative prayer, which is a suggested way to correct our perhaps subconscious destructive patterns of thought. In other words, keeping our minds and hearts focused on wholeness. That's the ultimate goal we all want to see. Now, this leads to leveraging our practitioners. I did a survey. 60 of you responded. Thank you very much. Very helpful. Good to know. Helped us prepare for today. But you have 17 practitioners, and 50% of you use them during the pandemic. I'm going to invite you all to leverage a session with the practitioners, trained in the science of mind and embodying the science of mind principles. Why? I mean, worst case scenario, to gain clarity for health and wholeness, because we can all use that as we continue to expand in our own community and beyond. Your future is unlimited. Your future is unlimited. The last day you create is the day you die, and that's the last day you create on earth anyway. But of course, creativity is a part of the soul, so you create the next. Unlimited potential is yours, should you choose. So many of you know that we have a bookmark, and the book we're still reading for this month is The Heart Math Solution. It is about also the heart-mind connection, similar to the book Mind Over Medicine. When we do our spiritual work, these scientists are showing that based on our heart work, it makes the impact in the quantum field. I'm not going to get too sciencey. I'm just going to say scientists are learning, demonstrating, proving that, being the love and the respect and the freedom emanates from our heart. And the Heart Math Solution website has a picture of the heart's electromagnetic, and it can be this small for people, but if you get in coherence with truth, it continues to expand, and your electromagnetic field can be felt by the other person who stands next to you. Now, we've sort of known that. Have you ever walked into a room that was like, oh my gosh, it doesn't feel so good in here, versus being home? That's because the heart is open here, and so many of you have an open heart, and that can be felt. Scientists are studying the heart. So, no surprise, we're all being called to love and love deeply, to release judgment and blame. My passion and purpose here is to inspire and empower all of you to discover your true inner wisdom for yourself, so that you can reach your full potential to live your best life. Our mission here at the center is we provide spiritual education tools and practices that uplift hearts, expand minds, and transform lives for the better. I will now ask the AV team to share with us another video of a little bit of truth that maybe you can take home, because you'll be singing this song long after this hour.